This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, folks. Tonight, the New York Knicks take on the Portland Trailblazers, hoping to win their second game in a row after they just defeated the Los Angeles Lakers. And ladies and gentlemen, that game versus the Lakers, the Knicks needed that game. They really needed to get that win. I have a rule that I like to go by when I'm coaching, and obviously it doesn't always work. But you don't lose more than 3 in a row. Now, the Knicks have done that several times this season, but they cut this current losing streak down to 3. They kept it at 3. Let's hope that they can put together another win and start to string together wins. They play the Portland Trailblazers tonight at 10 p.m. in Portland. And ladies and gentlemen, this game is actually, from here on out, the Knicks are playing big basketball games. Currently, the Knicks are 6th in the Eastern Conference in the standings. Percentage points behind the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks have a percentage of .571. The Nets are .574. The Nets have won 2 in a row. The Knicks have won, not 1 in a row. They won their last game versus the Los Angeles Lakers. They're looking for 2 in a row tonight. The Brooklyn Nets also play tonight. They play OKC. Now, the Nets got a big win over the Denver Nuggets. So there's a chance that they get a win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder are also fighting for play-in position in the Western Conference. The Thunder right now are the 11th seed, and they're tied with the New Orleans Pelicans. So they're trying to get into that play-in spot. The Thunder are. All right, so that's going to be a battle over there. But if the Knicks win tonight and the Brooklyn Nets lose tonight, the Knicks will be back in the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, although they're still 3 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs play the Hornets tonight. That'll likely be a win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Cavs pretty much have a light schedule down the stretch. The Knicks are going to need to, they need to hope that the Cavs lose a couple of games, especially with the Knicks going on a 3-game losing streak. They had a chance there. The Knicks had a chance. They were on that 9-game win streak, and they were just, a game or so behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if they could have kept winning, they could have stayed pace with the Cavaliers. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. The Knicks have 40 wins on the season. With a win tonight, they'll have 41 wins on the season with a win tonight, which means they're guaranteed to be at least 500 with a win tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So they need to get this win. They get this win, they'll be 11 games over 500. They can guarantee that they'll be 41-41. And I'm going to tell you, in the Eastern Conference, 41-41 almost guarantees that you're going to get at least the 8th seed. Right now, the Atlanta Hawks are 34-35, and they're 8th in the Eastern Conference. All right, the Miami Heat are 37-33. They're currently 7th in the Eastern Conference, 3 games behind the New York Knicks. So tonight, the Knicks can lock up being 500 on the season. And for some teams in the league, that's not really too much of an accomplishment. For the Knicks, it's an accomplishment. Because once they lock that up, it'll be the second time in 3 seasons that they were at least 500. And that says a lot for this team. When you look at the last decade. So I'm excited for the Knicks to get a win tonight. Lock down that 500 status, and then let's go above and beyond that 500 status. Okay? In order for the Knicks, right now the Knicks are 40-30. 40-30, ladies and gentlemen, with 12 games left to the season. In order for the Knicks to be a 50-win team this season, they can only lose 2 more games. So I'm going to say it's unlikely that they'll have 50 wins this season, but I didn't expect them to have 50 wins. I expected the Knicks to be 500 or better. And I said early in the season, well, before the season even began, that I would be disappointed if the Knicks were below 500. Disappointed. And some people said, the Eastern Conference got better. You can't guarantee that the Knicks are going to be this and that. But the way that I felt, the Knicks made moves to get Jalen Brunson because they thought he was the guy. And that they should at least be 500 on the season. And that would show improvement and progress to me. Well, they got a chance to be 500 now. And, of course, it's looking like they'll be better than 500 this season. All right, the Knicks, at this point in this season, I feel as though they should at least keep that 6th seed and hopefully move up to the 5th seed. You really don't want to be in the 6th seed, though. The 6th or the 7th seed or the 8th seed, that's tough. So that 5th seed is definitely important for the Knicks. Because if the Knicks remain in the 6th seed or find themselves having to play in, which I hope they do not have to. But if they're not 6th, 7th, or 8th seed, now you're talking about playing Milwaukee, Boston, or Philadelphia. All right. And yes, the Knicks have beaten Boston. They've beaten Philadelphia. But that's a tough first round matchup. Either one of those teams. They haven't beaten Milwaukee yet. So that 5th seed is important, in my opinion. Right? That 5th seed it's everything for the Knicks because I believe the Knicks can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I'm not saying it's a sure thing. I'm just saying I believe that they can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are a good team as well. So that would be a battle. So every game, like my man Keith Turner is saying, every game is a must-win at this point in the season for the New York Knicks. If you want that 5th seed. If you want the 5th seed, every game is a must-win. You got to get it. You don't care about the 5th seed, and you're happy with being the 6th or 7th seed, well, then I guess maybe they're not must-wins, but I want that 5th seed. It's important. You know what I mean? Keith Turner said, Brooklyn is getting hot at the right time. They are. And this particular Brooklyn team had a head start. Okay? So they had they were 10 games above 500 when KD and Kyrie was traded. So all this Brooklyn Nets team had to do, and I don't want to say all like it's an easy job because it's not easy, but they had to win. They had to be 500. They had to break even for the rest of the season. So there's a very good chance that this team is going to be, the Brooklyn Nets it's a good chance that they'll be in the playoffs. They're 39-29. Okay. They've got 14 games left to the season. There's a very good chance that they'll be in that 5th or 6th seed as well. Hopefully the Knicks can leapfrog the Brooklyn Nets, but the Nets will be at least in the play-in, and I'm thinking probably in the playoffs. They're good enough to win out, not win out, but be 500 for the remainder of the season. I believe that they are. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game win streak. I believe that they're good enough to be 500 for the remainder of the season. So if the Knicks want to take that 5th seed, they're going to have to be better than 500 for the remainder of the season. Okay. So the Knicks have their work cut out for them, ladies and gentlemen. And it starts tonight. 12 games left to the season. Obviously, it starts tonight versus the Portland Trailblazers. This game is of particular interest because the Knicks just traded Cam Reddish to the Portland Trailblazers for Josh Hart. And if all goes the way that we believe it will go, Cam Reddish will be starting tonight for the Portland Trailblazers. When you look at the injury report for tonight, Jalen Brunson is doubtful with a sore left foot. Damian Lillard is questionable with tightness in his right calf. Jeremy Grant is questionable with a left quad contusion. Now, the Portland Trailblazers, I guess they're still, I guess you can say that they're still fighting for a play-in position. I don't know if they are, if they're not. They're 31-37 on the season. They are currently 2 games out of the 10th seed. All right, now, in the past, Portland, they said that they're still trying to build around Damian Lillard. Right, and that was their plan, to put a team around Dame. I think everybody knew that was going to be a tough task. And it's been a tough task. They have some talent, but it's not enough to win in either conference. You know what I mean? And, who knows what's going to happen with Damian Lillard. He has a crazy, crazy contract with the Portland Trailblazers. He'll have a season where he makes close to $60 million, or maybe more than 60. I don't know. But, 60, close to 60 or 60 in maybe his last season. That's a crazy amount of money for one season of basketball. But, hey, this is the NBA. It's the way that it is. So I don't see that teams are going to trade for Damian Lillard. Not until that contract is done. So he's going to be in Portland. And I think he's okay with being in Portland. Listen, when he signed that contract, he knew that it was going to be tough for the Portland Trailblazers to trade him if he wanted to be traded. And Dame is, he's been loyal to the Portland Trailblazers and the city of Portland. So I don't even know if he wants to go anywhere. He may be like, hey, I'm just going to ride it out. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? That may be his mindset. Either way, the Portland Trailblazers are going to have a tough job putting players around Damian Lillard. Now, they got a young guy in Anthony Simons. He can ball. No doubt about it. They're hoping that Cam Reddish catches on. They got Jeremy Grant. They got Nurkic. They got some guys that can ball, but it hasn't come together like maybe they thought it would. Anyway, the projected starting lineups for the Knicks, given that Jalen Brunson is doubtful for tonight, is Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. And then the lineups for the Portland Trailblazers, if Damian Lillard does not play tonight, and I'm assuming that Jeremy Grant does play tonight. If he doesn't, then, somebody else would be out there. But for the Portland Trailblazers, Anthony Simons, Cam Reddish, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, and Nurkic. Now, Jeremy Grant, again, questionable on the night. This was made a little bit earlier, and I don't know if he was questionable then, but he's questionable now. And if he doesn't play, then obviously the lineups will be different. But taking it as it is, taking it as it is, when I look at the defensive matchups for this particular game, um, I think right off the bat, Quentin Grimes will likely be on Anthony Simons without Damian Lillard there. Anthony Simons is, for the most part, the guy. Well, I guess him and Jeremy Grant, those are the two main players for the Portland Trailblazers when Dame is not in the building. Now, if Dame is playing, obviously it's Dame, right? And Dame can go crazy on you. But when you look at tonight, Damian Lillard does not play. You're going to be focusing in. The Knicks will focus in on Anthony Simons. And then they'll see what Cam Reddish can do. But Quentin Grimes, I think, will have, Quentin Grimes has been the guy that the Knicks have put on the best player this season. The guy in that starting lineup. And now the guy off the bench that plays the best player is Josh Hart. But Quentin Grimes has been that guy. And I wouldn't expect anything different tonight. All right, because Anthony Simons, without Lillard there, is going to be the best guard out there on the floor. He's averaging 21 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 4.1 assists per game. It's a nice young piece for the Portland Trailblazers, just 23 years old. Shoots the ball at 45% from the field, 38% from the three-point line. He's dangerous. Very dangerous. Quentin Grimes is going to have to be on his job. He's going to have to be on his job against Anthony Simons. And then, kind of going back and forth. Would I put R.J. Barrett on Cam Reddish, or do I put Emmanuel Quickley on Cam Reddish? R.J. Barrett, of course, knows Cam Reddish and what he can do. Size-wise, it's maybe a better matchup according to size, but Quickley is a better defender than R.J. Barrett. And Matisse Thybulle is literally giving you 3 points per game. Now, he may be giving you a little bit more with the Portland Trailblazers right now. Okay, but he's not a major scorer. He's 6'5", 201 pounds. Okay, Cam Reddish obviously is 6'8". So that's what makes you look at the matchup. All right, and what do you do? Do you put Quickley on Cam Reddish? Quickley may not be as tall as Cam Reddish, but Cam Reddish really isn't going to post you up. He's going to play in transition. He'll get some open three-point shots. He can go off the dribble as well. But Quickley is strong enough and fast enough and has good enough feet where he can get up in Cam Reddish's space, I think. All right, Matisse Thybulle, since coming to Portland, he's averaging 7.5 points per game. Shooting the ball 46% from the field and 42% from the three-point line. He is attempting 4.2 attempts, 4.2 three-point attempts per game since he's been in Portland. So I think, though, that I would still go with Quickley on Cam Reddish. All right, I'd go with Quickley on Cam Reddish, Barrett on Thybulle. Of course, Julius Randle on Grant as long as Grant is playing, then Robinson on Nurkic. Okay, so my thinking, again, is that Quickley is going to be quick enough to defend Cam Reddish. We're not worried about Cam Reddish being a post-up player. And then R.J. Barrett, because of his defensive deficiencies this season on Matisse Thybulle, Matisse Thybulle isn't creating a lot of shots. He's shooting mostly threes. You know what I mean? And it just might work better for R.J. Barrett to guard Matisse Thybulle. As a matter of fact, Matisse Thybulle is attempting 6.2 shots per game, and 4 of those shots are three-pointers, which means R.J. Barrett's going to have to be aware of him floating, be aware of him relocating when someone is penetrating, know where Matisse Thybulle is, because he's shooting 4 threes a game and hit no matter 42%? 42% clip. All right, so RJ Barrett's going to have to be aware of where Matisse Thybulle is. Then, of course, Matisse Thybulle, very good defender. He'll probably be on quickly. Because right now, without Jalen Brunson, if Jalen Brunson was playing, Matisse Thybulle would probably be on Brunson. But without Brunson, quickly is going to be the guy, who he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to initiate the offense between him and Julius Randle. So I think Matisse Thybulle would probably be on quickly. Cam Reddish probably on Barrett. Simons on Grimes. And then you have Grant on Randle, Nurkic on Robinson. And I would likewise have Randle on Grant and Robinson on Nurkic. I don't like the matchup between Robinson and Nurkic. And anytime Robinson plays guys like Nurkic, I get a little bit nervous, that Mitchell Robinson is going to struggle a little bit. Nurkic is a guy that can, he can give you some buckets. He can post up. He's got a decent post game. He's pretty crafty. And I think that Mitchell Robinson struggles with guys like that. He's 7 foot, 290 pounds. He's averaging 13 points and 9 rebounds a game. 2.9 assists per game as well for Nurkic. All right, shooting a 3-ball. He's shooting about 2 threes a game this year. And he's shooting it at 36.4% from the field. All right, so Nurkic could be a problem for us against Mitchell Robinson. You may see a lot of Isaiah Hartenstein tonight against Nurkic. Right, you may see a lot of them tonight because Isaiah Hartenstein may do a better job of guarding a guy like Nurkic out in space. He may do a better job than Mitchell Robinson. We've seen it in the past where he does a better job against guys like Nurkic. Obviously, there's going to be other guys that Mitchell Robinson can guard better out in space. Maybe smaller centers or when you have to switch off onto a guard, Mitchell Robinson is a little better at guarding those guys out in space. But guarding that three-point line, dealing with guys in the post, Isaiah Hartenstein becomes very important. So I think he will be important tonight for the New York Knicks. All right, now, the last time that these two teams played, the Knicks lost to the Portland Trailblazers, and we're going to go over those stats shortly, but they lost to the Trailblazers in overtime. The Knicks scored 129 points and still lost. Can't have that happen tonight. All right, and Grant had 44 points against the Knicks. Josh Hart, who is no longer with the Portland Trailblazers, but Josh Hart in that game had 10 points and 19 rebounds against the Knicks. That might have been the game right there that made Tom Thibodeau say, "Get me that guy." He had 10 points, 19 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. After that game, which was at Madison Square Garden, Tom Thibodeau probably looked at Leon Rose and said, "Get me that guy. If he's free, get him for me." Lo and behold, Josh Hart is now a New York Knick. Damian Lillard did not play in that game. And yet still, the Portland Trailblazers dropped 132 points in overtime, but 132 points. Jeremy Grant, 44 points, ladies and gentlemen. He was 50% from the field. He was 43% from the three-point line. He was 21 for 28 from the free throw line. Jeremy Grant attempted 28 free throws in that game. 28. Anthony Simons, he had 38 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Nurkic had 20 points and 8 rebounds. All right, this was a scoring bonanza. All right, the Portland Trailblazers shot 49% and 31.3% from the three-point line. We're going to get a little bit deeper into that, but I'm saying all that to say that Julius Randle's got to do his job on Grant if Grant plays tonight. He's questionable, but if Grant plays tonight, Julius Randle got to be ready to ball. Can't let this guy drop 40 points on us again, especially during this time of the season when the Knicks need every single win. There's 12 games left to the season. The Knicks need these wins if they want to be in that 5th seed. They need these wins. You can't let Grant go crazy. Quentin Grimes, you got to be on your job against Anthony Simons. He had 38 points in the last game, and Damian Lillard is not playing tonight again. Well, he's questionable for tonight, which means Anthony Simons is going to be looking to do his thing. Yeah, he'll be looking to do his thing. So, the Knicks got to be ready defensively, man. They've got to be ready defensively. Obviously, Cam Reddish being out there on the floor, as long as Damian Lillard is not playing, adds, a little bit more scoring to that team without Lillard. Defensively, there's some things taken away because Josh Hart will be in the Knicks lineup instead of the Portland Trailblazers lineup. Cam Reddish isn't a bad defender. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But Grimes, Julius Randle, you got to be on your job. Emmanuel Quickly and Grimes obviously can switch off on Anthony Simons to give him some different looks. We're going to talk about that previous game in a little bit. I want to go over the bench units, and then we'll talk about that previous game. Because on the bench for the New York Knicks, Miles McBride, Josh Hart, Obi Toppin, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Again, the Hart brothers, man, they're going to be important in this basketball game, in my opinion. And so will Deuce. Because Jalen Brunson is doubtful. Deuce will be important because they have guards. Anthony Simons is a guard that could score the rock. He can score the ball. So guys like Deuce, Emmanuel Quickly, Josh Hart, when they're switching off on Anthony Simons, they got to be on their job. No rest. No rest for the weary. That's what it is. No rest. They got to be on their job. For the Portland Trailblazers, you got Eubanks, Shaedon Sharpe, Nazir Little. You got Watford. All right. In the previous game, Trent Watford, did a couple of things. Only 8 points, but, scored a couple of buckets against us. Nazir Little didn't play well against us the last time. Justice Winslow was playing the last time. We'll see if he, plays Eddie tonight. Obviously, lineups changed after the trade deadline. The Portland Trailblazers bench has been averaging 26 a game, shooting 49% from the field and 35% from three. The Knicks bench 29 a game, 45% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. But the Knicks bench, it's up and down. It depends on who they play. On some nights, the Knicks bench can dominate, and then on some nights, they don't. I expect the Knicks bench to be well tonight. Even though Emmanuel Quickly is elevated to the starting lineup because Jalen Brunson is out, I'm expecting the Knicks bench to be well. And do what they have to do. But the Hart brothers will be very important in this game. Josh Hart, of course, he may have to guard multiple guys. Josh Hart plays a lot of time with the starters, so you can see Josh Hart anywhere from guarding Anthony Simons to Cam Reddish, right, to maybe even a Jeremy Grant if he's hot. You know what I mean? Because Josh Hart is a strong guy. You know, you can use him a lot like Boston uses Marcus Smart defensively. A lot of times, Boston will take Marcus Smart and put him on Julius Randle, even though Marcus Smart is 6'4" and Julius Randle 6'8". You know, you can do that with Josh Hart as well. You know what I mean? So if Randle needed a break because Grant was doing his thing like he did last time, you could put Josh Hart on him to get up underneath him, right? To get up underneath him, make Grant have to shoot over the top of Josh Hart. But Josh Hart is small enough to get in, to really get into Jeremy Grant and other players similar to Jeremy Grant. Cut off that shooting motion, make it tough for him to dribble. You know, he's got fast enough feet so he can stop him from going to the basket. You know, guys like Josh Hart and Marcus Smart, they can give guys like Julius Randle, Jeremy Grant some trouble when they defend them. That's the versatility of Josh Hart. Then, of course, down the stretch, Emmanuel Quickley is normally on the floor. So when you talk about down the stretch of the game, Josh Hart will likely be on the floor. Emmanuel Quickley on the floor. I'm assuming R.J. Barrett on the floor. Julius Randle, and then Mitchell Robinson. But Hartenstein could see some extra time because of that matchup with Nurkic. You know, so Tom Thibodeau likes to put that defensive lineup on the floor, and it works for him a lot of times. Obviously, Jalen Brunson isn't there, so you miss a little bit of the clutch factor. And Jalen Brunson, the last time the Knicks played against the Portland Trailblazers, obviously was a critical piece to the Knicks in that game. He had 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Shot 45% from the field. He shot 37.5% from 3. So the Knicks are going to miss Jalen Brunson tonight, of course. Somebody else has got, other people got to step up. The last time the Knicks and the Portland Trailblazers played, the game went into overtime. The Knicks lost 132-129. The Knicks shot the ball 43.8% from the field and 31.7% from the three-point line. The Trailblazers shot it 49.4% from the field and 31% from the three-point line. 27 assists for the Knicks, 24 assists for the Portland Trailblazers. The Knicks were out-rebounded by 4. The Knicks, I don't want the game to be 132-129. You know what I mean? I always get afraid that the Knicks aren't going to keep up with the opposing team when they're scoring that amount. When they're scoring like that. At some point, I feel like the Knicks are going to hit a snag. But what really lost the game for the Knicks is the Portland Trailblazers getting to the line. Jeremy Grant, 21 for 28. The Portland Trailblazers made 38 free throws. The Knicks shot 28 free throws. So the Portland Trailblazers made more free throws than the Knicks shot in the previous game. They made more than the Knicks shot. Now, the Knicks made it, the Knicks shot 85.7% from the free throw line. The Portland Trailblazers shot 74.5%, but they shot 51 free throws. I remember that game, and I was just like, come on, it was ridiculous. It reminded me of when Pascal Siakam did with the Toronto Raptors, right? It was the same type of thing. And, same type of guys. Same type of guys. But Jeremy Grant, man, he just lived at the line. It was ridiculous, the amount of foul calls that he was getting throughout that game. And it continued to happen. It happened. The Knicks got to keep that guy off the line. They got to keep the Blazers off the line tonight. You can't have a repeat of that game. They've got to play good, honest defense. Keep these guys out the lane. All right, because if you don't, well, they might be on the line again. That's not going to be good for the Knicks. I mean, Jeremy Grant in the second quarter was 10 for 12 from the line. In the fourth quarter, he was 5 for 8 from the line. In the first quarter, he was 2 for 2 from the line. In overtime, he was 4 for 6 from the line. It's just ridiculous. So the Knicks got to keep these guys off the line. Keep Anthony Simons off the line. Keep Jeremy Grant off the line. It's going to be a key to this game. The Knicks in that game, the Portland Trailblazers only took 85 shot attempts. But, of course, the foul line kept them in it. The Knicks took 105 shot attempts versus the Portland Trailblazers. They only made 46. They were 13 for 41 from the three-point line. I think that, I don't know. I don't know what to expect and how it's going to look. I don't know. But the Knicks got to play better, more honest defense, keep the guys off the line, and then play some efficient offense. Play efficient offense. All right, versus the Los Angeles Lakers the other night, Julius Randle, he was high-powered, made a comeback, rebounded, 33 points for Randle, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He didn't shoot well from the three-point line. He took 12 three-point attempts. Right? He ended up being 46% from the field, but 12 three-point attempts for Julius Randle. Me and Uncle Fulio talked about this the other night, that the Knicks, man, right now they're taking like 38, 39 free throw attempts per game. They're shooting at about 36%. Right? But they're one of the top 5 teams in the league over the last 15 to 20 games. One of the top 5 teams in the league in shooting three-pointers. All right, the Knicks against the Los Angeles Lakers still only shot the ball 29% from the three-point line. Julius Randle was a big reason in the uptick early in the season. The Knicks weren't shooting that many. They were shooting 34, 35. Now they're at 38 or 39. And Julius Randle has added, since that time, he's added about 3 three-point shot attempts per game. Over the last 15 games, Julius Randle is shooting 20 shot attempts per game, and 10 of them are threes. Now, he's been making threes. He's been making them, but on nights when you're not making them, I don't want to see 12 of them. You know what I mean? He took 12 of them versus the Lakers. Still ended up with his 33, and he still ended up with a decent field goal percentage. It was 8 for 11 from the line. But the Knicks, this is a team that can get out and run the Portland Trailblazers. You shoot a lot of threes, it's going to lead to a lot of long rebounds. All right, and the Portland Trailblazers will get out and run and score. Anthony Simons, Cam Reddish, these guys can get out and go. Jeremy Grant, they can get out and go on the break. So we don't want to let them get out and go on the break. I'd like to see more efficient offense from the New York Knicks tonight. More efficient offense from the Knicks tonight. It could be trouble if the Knicks don't shoot well. We don't want that trouble. We don't want that trouble. We want the Knicks. The Knicks need to get wins. We know it. And we don't want that kind of trouble. So, I want the Knicks to shoot the ball efficiently tonight. The Portland Trailblazers, listen, they average 114 points per game. Right there with the Knicks. The Knicks average 115 points per game on the season. All right, the Knicks attempt about 89 shot attempts per game. The Portland Trailblazers are lower than that. They're about 84. All right, they only take about 37 about 35 3-point attempts per game do the Portland Trailblazers, where the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are for the season at 35 and a half 3-point attempts per game. That's 8th in the league, but that's climbed up from earlier in the season, because right now, over the last, like I said, 15 to 20 games, the Knicks are taking, about 38 3-point attempts per game. Right, the Knicks, one of the best rebounding teams in the league. The Portland Trailblazers, one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. The Knicks need to win the rebounding battle, especially if they're not shooting the ball well. If neither team is shooting the ball well, the Knicks have got to win that rebounding battle. Neither team really burns it up in assists. The Portland Trailblazers average 24 assists per game. The Knicks last in the league at 22.3 assists per game. All right. The Knicks are one of those teams that are a little bit more ISO than other teams in the league. There are nights. When the Knicks have 27, 28 assists. The last time they played the Portland Trailblazers, the Knicks had 27 assists. Anyway, I want the Knicks to play an efficient game tonight. If they're not shooting the ball well, win the battle of the boards. They lost the battle of the boards against the Portland Trailblazers the last time they played. They lost the game 132 to 129. I don't want to see that high of a score. I want to see it around the Knicks. I want to see it around both of the teams' average. I think if we keep the game in that range, the Knicks win. We keep it, 114, 115. We win the battle of the boards. We play efficient basketball. We don't turn the ball over. Neither team really turned the ball over the last time they played each other, right? 10 for the Knicks, 13 for the Portland Trailblazers. I think if we do these things, we win. If we keep Portland off the line, I think we win. We keep control over Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. If Jeremy Grant is playing, we win. I believe we're a better team than the Portland Trailblazers. Team, overall team. I think we're better than them. But we got to do the things on a nightly basis to win the basketball game. If we do them, I think we win. All right. Now, X factors. Cam Reddish could be an X factor. Right? They could be an X factor. Cam Reddish could be an X factor tonight. Because of the venom that he has against the New York Knicks right now. Cam Reddish is mad with the Knicks. He's upset that Tom Thibodeau, he felt like Tom Thibodeau was favoring other guys. He felt like Tom Thibodeau, he felt like it was more politics than anything, right? So, Cam Reddish is not happy with the New York Knicks. Doesn't feel like he got a chance. And, he may be out to prove to the New York Knicks that he should have been playing. Okay, but, the thing is, Tom Thibodeau has his guys. He has the type of players that he wants on this basketball team. And nothing's going to change that. Cam Reddish wasn't going to change that. Cam Reddish, in my opinion, didn't do anything to change that. Cam Reddish didn't do what he needed to do to keep himself on the floor, in my opinion. So yes, you can be upset and mad that you didn't get the playing time that you thought you deserved. And, you feel like it's, politics and all that kind of stuff, which, to be honest with you, maybe so. And I'll tell the truth. I didn't want to believe it from the beginning. I felt like, well, Cam Reddish got to earn he's got to earn his stuff. And he does have to earn his stuff. And I didn't feel like Tom Thibodeau didn't like Cam at the time. I felt like, I don't know what I want to say, that I felt like, he didn't feel like Cam Reddish brought what he wanted. And I still feel the same way. I don't know if it was anything personal. It was his preference of player, style of play. Cam Reddish thinks it's more than that. You know what I mean? Cam Reddish the other day, on his time in New York, he said it was tough, but at the same time, it ain't even about basketball. It had nothing to do with basketball. It was all politics, favoritism, and shit like that. That's what Cam Reddish had to say about his time in New York. Then he said, excuse me, flipped the wrong slide. There we go. We get to that one. He said, I can shoot a shot. And in New York, I feel like I had to make it. That's a little weird to me. You know, you shoot a shot. I mean, you should want to make it, right? But I guess what he was saying is, when he says, I feel like I had to make it, I'm taking from that he felt like he couldn't make mistakes. That's what I'm taking from that. He said, I know I'm not the only person that felt like that. Maybe he's referring to Obi. He said, I was putting too much pressure on myself. Now I can relax and play my game. You're going to see it. The more I'm on the court, the more I'm going to grow and play. I'm happy. All right. So Cam Reddish may be out to prove to everyone, including the Knicks, including Tom Thibodeau, that he deserves to be on the floor. Hopefully, listen, Cam, only thing I can say is, don't sound like a high school kid who's upset at his coach and saying that his coach has favorites and those type of things. That's what it sounds like to me. Me and Steph, we talked about it the other night. That's what it sounds like to me, that, he's mad that he didn't play. And so he's saying, oh, yeah, the coach has favorites. That's what I hear that all the time from high school players. The coach had favorites. The coach had favorites. I was just as good as this guy or that guy, but the coach had favorites. I mean, most coaches do. Everybody wants to believe that, the coach gives everybody the same chance, and they may give people the same chance, but they're going to have players that they favor, and not favor because of personality, or not favor because they like this player, favor because this person plays the style of basketball that they want, and so they're going to favor that player and put them on the floor. Now, I'm not saying things don't go on where, a coach plays their son or daughter, or, a coach plays this kid because he knows this guy's father or something. That happens. No doubt about it. It happens. It happens. And there's definitely politics and things like that. You know what I mean? But in the NBA, when coaches get paid, and if they don't win, they lose their jobs, they're going to play the guys that they feel get them wins. It's not going to be about the politics most of the time, because in the end, the coach gets fired and the coach has to lose their job. So they're going to play the people that they want to play. And it was clear. You know what I mean? When the Knicks traded for Josh Hart wasn't in the lineup. I mean, Cam Reddish wasn't in the lineup at all. So when the Knicks traded for Cam Reddish, Tom Thibodeau, we're trading for a guy that wasn't in the lineup. We got our lineup set, I don't know where he gets in, and, stuff like that. Well, when the Knicks traded for Josh Hart, Cam Reddish wasn't in the lineup. It was situational. Josh Hart comes in and is automatically playing 27 minutes a game. And he takes Deuce out the lineup. So, Tom Thibodeau has his style of players. Cam Reddish wasn't one of them. Move on. Be where you're at. Get your job done. I understand that he was probably asked questions. And maybe he felt like he needed to get this particular thing off his chest, and this would allow him to move on. I hope so. All right. And this right here can maybe just bring it to a head now. Can bring it to a head now that Portland and New York are playing. Cam will probably try to get his. And that'll be interesting to watch. I'm sure he's going to be motivated. I want to see. Let's see what a really motivated Cam looks like. If he's like, does he still just play relaxed like he played? Because I think that's part of the reason why Tom Thibodeau didn't want to put him on the floor? Or do you see a different level of motivation from Cam? Do you see a different energy level on the floor? Because that could be something that, if he brought that kind of energy every night, he might still be in New York. But it's neither here nor there. All right. But he could be an X factor tonight, I think. I mean, he could be an X factor tonight. Quiet Money said Cam gets playing time on the Blazers because they ain't playing for nothing but draft positioning. I can't help but to agree with you right now. I can't help but to agree with you. That, right now the Blazers, they're not playing for anything. They're just out there, I guess maybe they're playing for a play-in. You know what I mean? He went there, and as soon as he got off the plane, he was starting there too. So, maybe Chauncey Billups feels like he has something with Cam. Now, I think recently he's gone to the bench. He might be in a starting lineup tonight if Dame Lillard is not there. But we'll see how it goes with Cam in Portland. I'm wishing the best for him. I just don't think he wasn't the right fit for Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can leave it at that. This brings an end to it. And, Cam could go on about his business and hopefully have a great career in Portland or wherever else he goes. James Glass said he can't play team defense. He was lost in rotation. Tibbs was on the hot seat. I don't blame him. Hey, you know what? I'm with you. I was never upset that Cam wasn't playing. I always think, I think he's talented. Has a lot of, he has skill. Talented. I just don't think he puts the effort in. I don't feel like he puts in the effort. The Public Enemy says, I wonder if Fournier feels that Deuce has favoritism since he's getting minutes. Like I said, every coach has his favorite players to put out there on the floor. But I'll say this. If you're talking about favoritism, and this is where I'll just look at it and say, I got to disagree with Cam. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is one of Tom Thibodeau's favorite players, and so was Taj Gibson. Right? Derrick Rose is not getting off the bench. People are calling for, now that Jalen Brunson is out, been out for a little while, people are calling for Derrick Rose. He ain't getting off the bench. It's Deuce. So if you're saying that kind of favoritism, like, oh, I'm playing this guy just because I like this guy, well, that's not happening with Derrick Rose. Because Tom Thibodeau's playing the guys that he thinks is going to help him to get a win. And to win basketball games. Whether or not you believe Derrick Rose should be playing, some people think that he should be playing right now. Whether or not you believe that, Tom Thibodeau's playing the guys that he thinks is going to produce a win, and Derrick Rose is not one of those guys, although Derrick Rose is probably his favorite player ever in the league. He loves Derrick Rose because of their history together. You know what I mean? He loves Taj Gibson. And Taj Gibson was situational. So I mean, Cam just gotta, just play ball over there in Portland and get your career back on track. Get your career back on track. That's all. Hopefully, I'm hoping that Chauncey Billups can help him. Get himself together and produce a strong career. Another guy that's out there in Portland, Kevin Knox. He's in Portland. It's funny that these two guys end up on the Portland Trailblazers together. And I'm pretty sure they had stories to share, about Tibbs, about the team, whatever. Pretty sure they've shared some stories. And Kevin Knox was, I wanted Kevin Knox to really do well with the Knicks. You know what I mean? I really did. He's 23 years old now, 6'7", 215. Both of those guys represented a position that the Knicks were missing, and is still missing right now, to be honest with you. That long, small forward. I still think that's a critical spot for the Knicks in a position that they need. And it's one of the reasons why Leon Rose brought in Cam Reddish. But Kevin Knox is out there in Portland. You know what I mean? He's not getting many minutes. Still. He's averaging, for the Portland Trailblazers, he's averaging 5 minutes a game. He's 2.5 points. He was averaging more minutes in Detroit, 14 minutes in Detroit. So, two guys who kind of have the same makeup, that Tom Thibodeau said, get them out of here. Get those guys out of here. We want guys that have, that tough mindset, that throw their body around, that rebound, that play defense, that throw themselves on the floor. We want those kind of individuals on the court. So, it took literally the Knicks drafted Kevin Knox, and Kevin Knox ended up being Josh Hart. Not being Josh Hart, but they drafted Kevin Knox and moved him to Cam Reddish, and then Cam Reddish to Portland for Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart is going to be a keeper for the Knicks for a little while, too. So that's where it is. I think the Knicks are going to get a win tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I think hopefully their offense still isn't looking great, but I think they get a win tonight versus the Portland Trailblazers. They secure that 500 bid, and they'll be 500 on the season. All right, who knows what's going to happen with the Nets or whether or not they beat OKC, but the Knicks will have a chance to at least keep pace with the Nets or go ahead of them. If they lose tonight and the Nets win, then the Knicks will be one game behind the Nets. You don't want to be there. Again, I want to stay away from the 6th seed. I want that 5th seed. I'm pretty sure the Knicks want that 5th seed. They got to get the win tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I will be back on the post-game show tonight or tomorrow morning, I guess. The game starts at 10 tonight. It'll probably be over about 1, at which time I'll be on the post-game show. All right, so hopefully you can join me there. I appreciate your time. I'm going to head up out of here. Knicks need to get this win tonight, folks. They get this win tonight, they'll be 500 with 11 games left to the season. Anyway, I'm out of here, folks. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.